Assalamu alaikum. If we can, everybody can get seated, please. We can get started. Is there a bird in the room? Shh, boys. Jazakallah khair. That was good. MashaAllah. So, Jazakallah khair, everybody. We're doing something a little different this week. As you all know, about once a month, Daughters of Eve hosts a story night. And during this event, somebody, a speaker, will come and they'll give a halaqah and maybe tell some stories, and it's a fun night for all. But we changed things up a little bit where we're including the boys in the lecture portion of the story night tonight. And the reason we're doing that is because it's a very important topic that we're talking about, and it affects all of us in this room, and some of us more than others, unfortunately. And that topic is gossip. Gossip can come in many forms, and throughout this lecture today, we're going to be talking about it, learning about it. My voice is leaving me slowly but surely, and Jazakallah khair, Dr. Omar, he's on call tonight, and I begged and he agreed to come. So everyone please say Jazakallah khair to him. If you hear a beeping noise, it is not an explosion about to happen, it's his pager. So don't freak out, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and begin. You want to start first? Okay. We're gonna go ahead and get it, and we want this to be an interactive discussion. We don't want just, the teacher, Charlie Brown's teacher, want up here. We do want to talk and share information. And I learned a lot myself doing research in order to prepare myself for this presentation. It is extremely simplified. We can talk about gossip and slander for years, to be honest, given the amount of information out there that is available to us and the amount of experiences people have shared. But we want to focus on the most important aspects and learn from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we're going to start off with something good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the Quran has taught us how to speak, okay? And He gives us explanations about what is good. In many of the surahs throughout the Quran, for example, in Surah 3, Ayah 17, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, speak truthfully. In Surah 33, Ayah 70, speak with justice. 17:110, speak moderately. 283, speak positively. 1753, speak beautifully. I want you to pay attention to these adjectives and what they mean. Speak gently, 1728. Speak deeply, 463. Speak graciously, 1723. Jazakallah khair, Yusuf. Speak softly, 2044. Speak effectively, 3332. Speak humbly, 23:3. Speak bravely, 2027. And speak without lie, 72:5. So subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is one of many examples of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written in the Quran, teaching us how we should speak, not how we shouldn't, subhanAllah, okay?
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, salatu wasalam, Rasulullah. It's such wonderful, mashallah, to see all of you. And I agree, this topic is very, very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned many ayat that I was going through the Quran today, and I saw like extensive number of ayats, but I'm going to just share very few with them. Allah, in Surah Baqarah, He said, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, say word that's beautiful. So beauty is something that Rasulullah was known for. His, usloob, his manner was always gentle. فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. It's only His gentleness and kindness that made people attracted to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So whenever the Quran mentioned people who do otherwise, He will say, أَعْرَضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ, turn away from people who engage in useless and hurtful words. And when He mentioned عِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ in Surah Al-Furqan, He said, يعني عِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, they walk humbly. وَإِذَا خَطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. When the ignorant, they attack them or insult them, they will say salam. They will just walk away with a smile, with thank you very much, barakallahu feek, may Allah forgive you. They don't, return insult with an insult.
Okay, So all of us today, none of us are immune to gossip. None of us are immune to gossiping, sadly. None of us are the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. None of us are perfect. But what's interesting through my research is what I found what is defined as gossip, okay? This lecture today, we're going to be looking at 3 aspects. What gossip does to us personally, like psychologically what it does to us, what it does to us as a society, a community, a culture, and what it does to us from an Islamic perspective, okay? So we'll look at a few definitions of what is gossip. Let me move this chair over. So kind of an everyday definition for gossip. Conversation or rumors about other people's private lives that might be unkind, judgmental, or untrue. Okay? And we're going to kind of elaborate a little bit more on these definitions as we go throughout the night. The Islamic definition: any unnecessary talk about another human being, regardless of the topic, whether it is true or untrue. And you see 2 little stars next to the word untrue, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Notice the word unnecessary is underlined, okay? Who wants to kind of give me a reason why you think that's underlined? Go ahead.
Because you don't have to do it. Like it's like
Right. It's not necessary, right? Exactly. But what else can we garner from that?
unneeded information.
Unneeded information, right. So is there a time where information is needed? Right, there could be, exactly. So there's 2 kinds of gossip, or speaking about people, that's defined in Islam, and that's ghiba and namima. Ghiba is defined as backbiting, speaking about someone behind their back in a way that can cause hurt, okay? And this is an important word, a way that can cause hurt. Is there a way of speaking behind someone's back that doesn't cause hurt? Give me an example.
When like you talk about them in a good way.
Sure, give me an example. Boys, give me an example. Anybody? How about, did you hear Taha just won his karate tournament? Right? Well, I don't know, I made it up. Did you win? Is that gossip? Is that considered gossip? Yes? Who says yes? Who says no? Well, it depends. Guys, it depends. What if Taha didn't want anyone to know that he won his karate tournament? What if I didn't ask his permission to tell? Is it my information to tell? Is it my story to tell? So this is some of the key things we're going to talk about tonight. When is it okay to speak? When is it okay to share? Namima are spreading rumors from one person to the next, and slander, meaning what they're sharing is untrue. All right? Khala and Nura had Botox. No, I'm naturally this wrinkle-free. Say mashallah. Okay, that's slander. It's a nice, it's not a big deal, it's a joke, but that is not true, and that could be considered as slander. Okay, I wanted to ask you guys what you think your definition. How do you define gossip? Would you guys agree that your kind of definition would fall under these 2 categories? Can you think of any other way of defining or explaining, Eunice? Fitna, sure, absolutely. Gossip can cause fitna, 100% true. What else? Yusuf?
I think it's like manipulation of information from...
Wow, that's a big, yep, that's a manipulation of information.
What does that word mean?
Manipulation means to... That's a good question, right? We're a judgment-free zone, guys. Totally judgment-free. And that's a great, thank you for asking that question. So manipulation means playing around with the words, changing them up in order to maybe spice something up or make it a little more exciting than it actually is. So there are exceptions to the rule about when you can talk and when it's not considered gossip. But we'll get to that in a little bit, because what I want you to do is try to absorb all of the information that you can in order to understand why some of the things that somebody might consider as gossip in certain situations are not. Okay, so what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about those who gossip?
Okay, so this is Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. So the example is he's giving here subhanahu wa ta'ala is very very graphic. You can see if you are talking about somebody behind their back, it is as if you are eating their dead meat basically, or eating the flesh of your brother or sister. So it's something that is highly discouraged in Islam, and it's not only something that we do face to face. Some of us, we gossip and backbite and slander others online too. So cyber gossip is very very hurtful and can be very dangerous. There are people who actually become isolated. They think about ending their life, and some actually take their own life because of bullying that happens online. So be very careful with that, because things that you do online can come and be visible on your book in the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, for example, Surah Al-Nahl, لِيَحْمِلُوا أَوْزَارَهُمْ وَمِنْ أَوْزَارِ الَّذِينَ يَضِلُّونَهُم بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. So he said, so there are people who will bring their own load of sayyat, but they're also going to have load of other people. There is a sadaqah jariyah, there is a sayyi'ah jariyah. There is a bad deed that will continue to haunt you even after your death, which is sharing something that's not good. So be careful, inshallah, online.
And there's a word shared in this ayah, dhann. Who knows what that means? What does dhann mean?
Like doubt or questioning.
Not quite doubt or questioning. Yes. When you think something or assume something about somebody, right? Khala Nura's pregnant. No, she just overweight. Right? That's dhann. They assume. It might not bother me, but that's a form of dhann. Okay? Some forms of dhann are sins. They're considered haram to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay?
Yeah, just to clarify, also, dhann, the word dhann itself can be used in very beautiful ways too. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. What do you think about Allah? نحن نقول لا نظن بربنا إلا خيرا. We only think good about Allah. دائما مسلم يكون ظنه حسن بالله سبحانه وتعالى. Always have beautiful thinking about Allah. You know, yeah, you fear His punishment subhanahu, but you always love Him and always be hopeful. المؤمن بين الخوف والأمل والرجاء. So this is Surah Al-Humazah, as many of you memorize. ويل لكل همزة لمزة. And the other one, Surah Al-Hujurat. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين.
We know Maghrib is soon, but we're actually going to pray a different Jama'ah Salah afterwards, inshallah. Okay. So what did the Rasul ﷺ say about gossip? The Rasul ﷺ said, do you know what backbiting is? It is to say something about your brother or sister that he would dislike. Someone asked him, but what if what I say is true? The Messenger of God said, if what you say about him is true, you are backbiting him. But if it is not true, then you have slandered him. So let's talk about scientifically, psychologically. Why do people gossip? Okay? And I'm going to go back for a second. Before I go through that. And can I have a volunteer writer? Someone, okay, coming up. Can you give her a marker, please? Okay, I want you guys to give me some reasons. Why do you think people gossip? And I want you to write them up there, Manny, over there. Okay, give me some reasons, guys. What are some reasons people gossip? Jealousy. That's a great reason. What about you, hun?
Because people find it interesting.
It's interesting, okay? Conversation starter.
Makes people feel better about themselves.
Makes people feel good about themselves. Try to remember, just go with it. You can do it. So make people feel good about themselves. It's okay. We're going to go over these things. Conversation starter.
I can write you.
I'll let you do that one, okay? Muhammad?
They just dislike the person.
They dislike the person. Okay, there you go.
They are insecure.
They are insecure. Wow, that's a good one. Uh-huh. To get tea, okay? Okay, spill the tea. Just put spill the tea. Uh-huh. Sometimes that tea is burnt coffee, so you gotta be careful. Hold on. What up? Bonding. Interesting. Great word. Revenge. Wow, that's a good one. A grudge. Jafar? Do you need us to turn it off? It's okay. We'll talk like this. Khalid. I turned it off. I turned it off. Okay. We'll turn it back on after Salat. It's okay. So what'd you say?
Venting.
Venting. Just venting. Okay? So let's talk about who let's talk about why people engage in gossip. So there is a scientific reason, all right? Shh, guys, there's no mic, so I'm gonna have to yell. So anthropologists, those are people who study human behavior, especially in the past, okay? And the anthropologists believe that throughout human history, gossip has been a way for us to bond with others. Who said bonding? Okay? And sometimes a tool to isolate those who aren't viewed as belonging to the group. So anthropologists study humans in terms of survival. What did humans do in order to survive? Gossip gives people a sense of power over another person or situation. And FOMO, fear of missing out. People are naturally curious and want to know things about others, which is why they allow gossip or will gossip themselves, all right? Islamically speaking, we believe that people gossip because nafs amaratun bisu. Your nafs will always want you to do things until you aghlib your nafs, until you defeat your nafs, that are not things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like. And then the shaitan doesn't help. He'll come and say, ooh, did you see what she said about you? You should go tell people this. All right? So we had a very good examples. Thank you, Habibti. You can sit down, and we'll get back to those a little later, too. So who engages? Go ahead, Muhammad.
Is it like backbiting or like gossip if you tell them to their face?
So what do you mean? Like, give me an example.
Like if you say something, like behind someone's back, but then you can tell them afterwards, like.
So let's say, for example, I came up to you and say, hey, Muhammad, I totally saw you cheat on that test. And then I go to Sumaya and I say, hey, Muhammad cheated on that test. Is that any better than just saying it to your face? It's still gossip. It might be slander even if it's not true, right? So just because I say it to your face doesn't make it okay to say it to somebody else. So the whole idea of gossip or slander is speaking to other people about somebody. If I speak to you directly, it is not gossip. Or about me. Okay? Yes?
Does snitching count as gossip?
Oh, excellent question. Amu's going to talk about that. The snitching, telling on, huh?
Which one's worse, slander or gossip?
Slander, because slander is untrue. Okay?
Did you just say that?
It's okay, baby. But thank you. It's okay, you guys. Ask questions. It's okay. All right. So guys, children, all of us, when we were little kids, we learned the majority of our behaviors from our parents. They modeled the behavior we copied, right? The majority of children learn gossip through modeling. They see their parents doing it. They hear their mom on the phone. Did you hear? Oh my goodness. They hear their dad on the phone. How did he get that raise? He doesn't deserve that raise. Whatever it is, they have seen the behavior somehow and copy that behavior. Children inherently do not gossip. Inherently, children, if Fatima does something to me, for example, inherently I will go to an authority figure and I will say, Fatima did this to me for help. Not to get Fatima in trouble, but to say, Fatima did this to me. Does that make sense? Later on, children learn how to start talking amongst each other in order to create problems or get to a fight or whatever. Hold on, Jimmy. In adults, gossip is a behavior that is considered an acceptable, normal part of everyday life as long as it does not hurt anyone. But we know this is not true. Okay? Yes, Sada?
What if you gossip and you say that's good for them?
So we'll get to that. Thank you. Hold on to that and we'll get to it, okay? All right. So males tend to gossip for possession of knowledge and control of information. Females tend to gossip more about social relationships and physical appearances. Now this is based on a study, multiple studies, in scientific peer-reviewed journals. This is not like, in like a, I don't know, a fashion magazine. No, these are scientifically done studies that have found this information to be true. Women tend to gossip more than men, but don't get this the wrong way, only in neutral information. So information that is not considered hurtful. For example, Afaf got a new scarf. Okay, that's considered neutral information. Does that make sense? But in terms of other forms of gossip, men and women gossip about the same amount. So anyone can fall into the trap of gossip, yes?
Or were you my kid friend? Were you like the kid, or were you?
You were the kid.
No, were you my mom? Or
Yes.
were you?
Okay, good point. We'll talk about that too. Okay? So here's some interesting findings. This is really amazing, you guys. Younger people engage, so this is about your age. They engage in more negative gossip. She looked horrible in that outfit. He did horrible in practice. He couldn't run a mile without breathing hard. That's why he didn't make the team. She's looking really, big in that dress. Maybe she should wear a looser dress. That's negative talk right there, negative gossip. And kids your age tend to talk more like that when it comes to gossip than adults do. Here's the shocking one. Adults gossip an average of 52 minutes per day. About an hour of every day is wasted gossiping. Yeah, can you believe it?
What the heck?
Almost 3/4 or 75% of gossip, girls. I know, that's shocking, right? 3/4 of gossip was neutral gossip. So like I said, she got a new scarf, he got new shoes. Negative gossip, though, was twice as prevalent than what's considered positive gossip. Like, she got a promotion, right? In this study, by the way, it's done at University of California, Riverdale, and you can find the entire article on Science Daily if you're interested in reading the whole thing, and it's a fascinating read. I mean, it kept me on the edge of my seat. Gossip overwhelmingly was about an acquaintance and not a celebrity, right? So it's not saying, oh my gosh, did you see Kim Kardashian got extensions? That really doesn't matter to people when it comes to gossip. What does matter to people is who we know. We talk more about who we know than famous people out in the world. Yes, Adim?
So I completely agree with that, but how do we avoid that? Because today, all that we're talking about in the community is negative gossip completely about everyone around us. How do we stay away from that? Because if that's our circle, how do we stay away from it and prevent it from happening?
Excellent question. So Reem asked, how do we stay away from negative gossip if it's so prevalent in our community and within our inner circles? And we will address that question shortly. All right? Good question. You write that down. Hold on, Mama. Extroverts, so people like me, but alhamdulillah, I try not to gossip. I really try hard. Extroverts gossip far more frequently than introverts, so if you're shyer, you're less likely to gossip, which is really interesting, subhanAllah. Poor, there used to be an assumption, and in fact there's a book written about it, that people who are low income or poor gossip more than those who are educated and rich.
What?
It turns out in this study there's no difference at all. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic level is, it doesn't matter what your educational level is. Adults all gossip the same around all different spectrums. So we're going to talk now about what happens to those who gossip. And this is people who are gossiping, not those who are the victims of gossip. Mama.
Is a gossip like is it gossip if you say, did you know that, for example, Sumaya dropped grape juice on her clean new white shoes? Is that gossip?
Well, does Sumaya want people to know that? She might not want people to know that. So yes, it could be gossip. Okay? So, people who gossip, you develop very unhealthy habits. It actually becomes very easy for your tongue to start talking about people and sharing information. You will notice it was harder, if you pay attention, talking about people, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Those who gossip may eventually lose their reputation. They will be seen as untrustworthy, unbelievable. Think about the boy who cried wolf, right? He lied, and in the end nobody believed him, and he ended up being eaten by the wolf. The same thing happens with those who gossip a lot. Eventually people will never believe you. And then you come and tell them, hey, this person is like this, and he could be harmful to our community, but no one's going to believe him, and he could come and harm us. Okay? So that's one of the downfalls of being a gossiper. The other one, Islamically, you're giving your good deeds away. And some of us don't have that much to give, so we got to be really careful. We want to build our good deed bank account. We want to make it grow. We don't want to give those who are gossiping about our good deeds. And then, of course, the big one, punishment in the hereafter. And believe me, these punishments are not a piece of cake at all.
Yeah, I mean, one of the scholars here, they came to him and they said, one of your neighbors talking bad about you. So he took a plate and filled it with grapes, and he went to his neighbor and said, thank you for giving me your hasanat. So subhanAllah, we don't want to, get rid of our hasanat by engaging in something like this. But one thing Khala said, which is very, very important, which is have to do with the groups. Some of us, we want to be part of a group, we want to exclude other people from group. And we see it during difficult times, like the times we live right now. For example, we spread rumors about the refugees. We say they're here to take over the country. Muslims are here to take over the Sharia law. You see lots of, in-group, out-group kind of mentality and divisive, attitudes when the country is going through rough times like this. So whenever, Khala said, everybody is born on fitrah, children only learn it from adults. If you're living in a hateful household that talks about other people in a negative way, most likely you're going to engage in more gossip.
Okay, what happens to those who are gossiped about? So let's say somebody spreads a rumor about me, a horrible rumor. Whether it's true or not, they spread a rumor about me. What can that do to me? What?
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Is it still considered gossip if you need, it's necessary to talk negative about someone? Usually in, a professional, like he's not doing his job, or he didn't do his role, that kind of stuff. Is that
So remember we said we're going to get back to times in which it is, we don't want to use the word okay, right? But permissible to talk about people. And so we will answer that question, but we're going to let you guys have a chance to answer those. After we've been through this, we're going to see how you do with that. Muhammad? Which one had his hand? Abdi, go ahead.
You get a lot of hasanat.
Huh? Yes, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're talking psychologically what happens. If people start talking bad about me, it can affect me so much that I might start feeling signs of depression. I might feel anxiety. I might feel anger and a desire for revenge. What have you said that earlier? I might be like, you know what? They said this about me. I'm going to make something up about them. I'm going to get back at them. Isolation, both physically and spiritually. Sometimes people, you guys, actually isolate themselves where they don't meet up with friends. They don't go to the masjid. They don't. Sometimes they don't go to school. And then they start doing things like not praying. Right? They start stopping reading Quran. Those are the side effects of what can happen to you if people gossip about you. Culturally, ruined reputations. This is why, subhanAllah, Allah has made it such a vile crime. You could ruin somebody. La samahAllah, I think I have an okay reputation in this community, but somebody could lie about me. And the lie could become so believable that people will no longer want me to be a part of your lives, or want Dr. Omar to be a part of your lives. That can happen, and it has happened. Gossip is so hurtful that Sayyidah Aisha herself was accused of something falsely. She was slandered. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, questioned his own wife until her innocence came down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, I don't think an ayah is going to come down if someone accuses me of something, right? But look how powerful slander is. So much so that the greatest among us questioned his own wife. He didn't talk to her for days. This is how powerful words are. This is how powerful slander is. And this is why it's so devastating to individuals and communities, and is so punishable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes?
Before you said that if someone gossips, you get their hasanat. What if it's like a different religious person?
That's a great question, and Amal's going to answer that for us.
Uh-oh.
We'll get to that. Here's the funny thing I learned in my research. Some of the hadith actually said when it was explained, it said your fellow Muslim. But I personally don't think it's okay to gossip about anybody. I think it's a rule, do kuffar have blessings and hasanat? Sure, why not? We don't know. I mean, they do good deeds, and maybe Allah subhanahu, you don't know, right? We don't know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge each of us. So it's always best as a rule, don't gossip about anybody. And if people gossip about you, we can believe that we're going to get the hasanat from anybody who gossips, no matter where they're from or what they believe. Okay? Yes?
I think there's like so it's from a book I was reading. It said Allah once said that words are much more powerful than like your fists.
Oh yeah. And Amal could speak to that in terms of his experience with how damaging words can be, especially to children. Okay? Islamically, you guys, loss of productivity, that means that you're at work and all you're thinking about is the gossip that people are saying about you. You're not able to do your work. You're not able to do your schooling. You're not able to study. And slowly you start to see your life falling apart. Yes?
Is it bad to gossip about somebody like you don't know because like it's not gonna like pretend they're in like a different state or something? Like nobody knows them that you're telling it to, but like it's not gonna ruin their reputation or anything. But
interesting question. So she asked, is it okay to gossip about somebody you don't know? And if they're in a different state, I say, hey, did you know that my friend Jessica in Texas did this and she went to jail for 15 months? It's still gossip. It's still gossip, even whether you know them or not. Yes? Somebody had their hand up? You okay? Oh, yes, Yusuf?
If someone says to someone hey, you're being gossiped about, is it better not to tell the person that they're being gossiped about so they don't feel?
So that's a great question, and I can't remember the name. Is it Sahabi? That somebody came up to him and he said, "This person said this and this and this about you," and then he turned to him and said, "Are you the only carrier the shaitan could find to send this message to me?" So we're going to actually talk about that. If I know somebody said something bad about you, I should not tell you, unless there is going to be harm caused to you. And we'll get to that about the reasons that it's okay to talk. So what happens culturally? We talked about this before. Ruined reputations, lost opportunities. What if I was up for a great job and somebody spread a false rumor about me, and because of that, I didn't get the job? I actually know somebody that this happened to, and it was a horrible thing. I know a kid who didn't get into a very good school because somebody lied about him. Okay? So yes, it can ruin opportunities. And also suspicion from both sides. Suddenly, I'm suspicious about you, you're suspicious about me, we can't trust each other, and our communities fall apart. Islamically, fitna, I think someone said it over here, Eunice, talking and gossiping definitely causes fitna. It's led to wars between people. It's led to bloodshed between people. That's how powerful it is. And then the only good thing that comes out about when people gossip about you is you get their hasanat. But we still don't want people to gossip. Don't be like, oh, I hope they gossip so I can get... No, we still don't want people to gossip. Go ahead. I'm sorry, what?
Can you tell them when they collect that hasanat?
You mean Yom Al-Qiyamah? Okay. So, Khala Jenny said, when do they get their hasanat? At Yom Al-Qiyamah, our good deeds and our bad deeds are weighed against each other, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts them on a scale. And inshallah, our good deeds will always outweigh our bad deeds. And when, let's say, we're balanced, good and bad right here, that is when the ajr and the hasanat that we have collected from other people doing bad to us comes into play and helps us, inshallah, if we need it. Okay, yes, Jafar?
How would you repent for something like that? Because
That's a
how would you
fantastic
repent
question.
for something
That's a good
you
one.
already forgot about the person you talked about. Because over the years you talked about a lot of people you forgot about with those people. And then sometimes you're not in contact with anybody. Because like some people I met in Saudi Arabia, I have no contact with them anymore. How would you repent for something like that? Or is
That's a great question, and you want to do that one now?
Yeah, I mean, we know شروط التوبة أربعة, you know, the conditions of Tawbah are 4 things. First one is to feel sorry about what you did, and then to stop doing it immediately, and then to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. But if you do damage to another person, then you ask forgiveness from them. But in your case, maybe that was years ago, you forgot, or the person you don't have any way of contacting them. You can make a dua for them, you can make a istighfar on their behalf, you can give sadaqah on their behalf. You can, keep them in your mind as a reason to, distract you from doing it in the future. Inshallah.
Allah is all forgiving. Remember that. There's no sin Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive other than shirk. Right? So we ask Allah, we go through tawbah, and inshallah Allah will forgive us. But that shouldn't be a reason you do it. Right? Don't have the mentality that, oh, Allah will forgive me, because now you're knowingly committing a sin. You're knowingly doing it. And Allahu a'lam how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take that. So what's a punishment for gossip? There are so many. We just kind of picked a few. And you guys, like I said, we really simplified this because of the sake of time. But your questions are wonderful, and we will try to get to them all. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by 2 graves and said, they are being punished, but they are not being punished for anything that was difficult to avoid. One of them used to walk about spreading malicious gossip, namima. The other used to not take precautions to avoid getting urine on himself when he urinated. So he would not be careful, and urine would get on his clothing. And he was not careful. It seems simple, right? Seems like not a big deal. But to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a big deal. The hadith?
About cleanliness.
Oh, about the cleanliness? One of them used to walk about and the other used not to take precautions to avoid getting urine on himself when he urinated. So when he'd go to the bathroom, he might make a mess of himself, and he wouldn't care about it. It would get on his clothing, maybe his socks, maybe whatever, and he wouldn't clean it off.
Ew.
Okay?
Okay.
This goes for guys, this goes for women too. We refer a lot in the Islamic literature to him or he, but it means the whole. It's referring to women as well, unless it is a gender-specific topic. All right? According to Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, thank you, I kept pronouncing it wrong. Speaking of punishments in the grave, listen to this one, guys. Those who committed these crimes will be punished. Some will have their sides cut and will be fed with their own flesh. They are the ones who engaged in backbiting. Some will have their nails of copper with which they will scratch their faces and chests. They are the ones who impugn people's honor. So they slandered them. So imagine. Guys, let's focus, please. Thank you. Who will be punished in the grave? Those who spread malicious gossip, tell lies, backbite, give false witness. Do you know what false witness means?
Nope.
Yes. False testimony, saying that you saw something or you heard something that you didn't. Slander those who are chaste and innocent. Spread fitna, promote bid'ah. Say things about Allah and His Messenger without knowledge and speak in a reckless manner. That one scares me. Say things about Allah and His Messenger without knowledge. So I'm not a scholar, and I always tell people I am not a scholar, but I'll share information that inshallah I think is correct. But I'm also willing for someone to say, Khala, I don't think that's right, we'll go look it up, okay? And if I don't know, I will say I don't know. It's okay to say I don't know. It's okay to say I'll look it up and get back to you. So never feel like you have to have an answer for somebody right at that moment, okay? So this comes back to the questions, what do we do about gossip? If you are the one gossiping, stop. Plain and simple. just stop. Okay? It's not going to be easy. It's literally an addiction for some people. Right? People love this. They love to get reactions out of people. They love to see what people say. They love to cause pain. They think it's fun to watch people get hurt. It's a sickness. If you find yourself in that position, get help. I'm not kidding. Go find somebody to talk to and say, I cannot stop talking about people. I love seeing people get in trouble. And there are people like that. If you care about your future, about your akhirah, about your relationships with people, your position in your community, make sure to just stop. Just don't do it. Yes? Oh, excellent question. And Sheikh Omar Suleiman actually addressed this in a wonderful lecture called Behind the Scenes. And he said, his answer was, when especially leaders, political leaders, they do things out in public in front of everybody. So everybody knows. So when you're sharing, did you hear what Trump said about Muslims? He already said it. Anybody can find that information available. So it's not something that he is trying to hide. Does that make sense? Did that make sense?
What about like the law
Okay.
and stuff?
But then if it's about his personal life, for example, let's say you see him do something, that you're the only person who saw him do that, and you start telling people, no matter how much the tabloids pay you, it's gossip. Okay? Does that make sense? The evilness of the person does not give you permission to talk about them. You never, I don't care who it is, how bad they are, how kafir they are, how whatever. It does not give you permission to talk about another human being. Ismail, yes.
What if it's like a crime in the instance, like
Fantastic. In fact,
somebody, like the whistleblower?
yep. We're gonna start doing this. So he asked, what if somebody's telling about a crime? Okay, that's a fantastic question, and that's one of the reasons that you're allowed to say something, and we're gonna get to that. Jafar?
On that question, I know somebody who was accused of a crime and actually went to court, but he was innocent. But he still got accused of it, and everyone talked about it in the community as like he did it. So even now when he goes around, he still meets people who are afraid of him or think bad about him all the time, because they still think he was the one who did the crime.
Right, and we talk about that. That's a reputation, right? See what it did? It ruined a man's life. I'm assuming you're talking about a male. Yes?
So let's just say you're forced to do it, like someone, like it's like you're risking your life. So like if you don't say something, so let's just say you have an important figure in the community and someone like is like risking your life to say something bad about someone, would you gossip about him?
So that's a gray area for sure. We'll talk about that. Yusuf?
This made me think when you said no matter how much you're getting. When you said no matter how much you're getting paid, some people it's literally their profession to gossip.
Right. What? Yeah, like tabloids. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. But ma ba'da kufri dam. Subhanallah. There's these gray areas that I'm not a scholar to give a fatwa. None of us in this room are, but definitely it's an entire. This is why people pay big money, because people love being in the know. They love knowing what's going on with other human beings. All right, think before you speak, and the word think is capitalized for a reason. We're going to go over that in a little bit. And it takes practice, guys. It literally takes practice. If I come up to Sumaya and I really want to tell her what her sister Sada just did to her brand new pair of shoes, I need to take a minute and pause and ask myself, what will this information do to the relationship between these two sisters? And that's not easy to do. It takes practice. And you guys are going to laugh at this, okay? Wallahi, I talk to myself in the mirror. I talk to myself in the mirror. I tell myself, pray on time. Don't talk about people. Give charity. It's a reminder to myself all the time. Because no one else, sometimes people don't remind us. And we need reminders from each other. And if I don't get those reminders daily, I will remind myself, one way or another. If you hear or are listening to gossip, so if you are listening to someone gossiping about someone, you are just as guilty as the person who is gossiping.
Why?
Why?
Okay, so what if you tell them to stop?
Okay, So we'll get there. Good job. So what do? Shh. First of all, don't ever believe it. I don't care what you know about the person that's being talked about. Don't believe it. Unless you hear it from the person themselves. Don't believe it. This is why Islam is so strict about information when it comes to very serious things like adultery, like stealing. When it's adultery, you need 4 witnesses. 4 that are actually seeing. They actually saw the adultery happening. That's how serious of an accusation it is. Because it's so serious, this is why if you say it, if you accuse anybody of doing something that they didn't do, at that level it is slander. And it is a huge sin to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Guys, hold off on your questions till the end because we really want to get done. I promise we're going to have a lot of time for questions, inshallah. Ask people not to speak about others and mean it. Omar Reda in his lecture, he actually said get mad at them. Say, don't tell me, don't talk about people. Stop talking about people. I don't want to hear it. If you say, well, wait, this is about you, I don't want to hear it. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear it. It's not going to benefit me unless it's something that's going to cause harm to me. Okay? Can you hold off, honey, till the end? Speak up on behalf of the person being spoken about. So if someone comes to me and he says, oh my God, I saw Yusuf in Texas last week, right? And I know for a fact that he was here in Portland studying for his SAT. Say, no, that's a lie. He was here. You know what? I'm going to call him right now and I'm going to ask him right in front of you. You'll see how quickly people are shut down. When you say, really? This person did this? Let's call him right now together. Let's call him right now. That's how you put an end real quick to gossip. And you're telling the other person, I'm not interested in your gossip. Don't come gossip to me. I don't need those dhunub. I want to keep my own hasanat and you can keep your dhunub. Okay? If it's happening to you, if you are being gossiped about, speak up. You have to tell somebody. If you can't handle it yourself, go to your teacher, to a very trusted friend, to your parents, to community leaders that you trust. Tell them, this is happening to me and I don't know what to do about it. Don't let it affect your self-esteem. That's the really hard one, you guys. I am an adult. And sometimes I hear things about me and it hurts my feelings. I'm an adult, but it still hurts my feelings. So imagine a hormonal teenager who hasn't figured out life yet, right? It'll really affect you. So if it's happening to you, you don't have to fight it alone. You don't have to go through it alone. Find somebody that you can talk to. Don't let gossip become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So someone starts saying, so-and-so sneaks out of school and she smokes e-cigarettes on the corner with some boys. Okay? Some people will literally start doing it just because somebody started a rumor about it. That's what a self-fulfilling prophecy is. You start thinking something or saying something or somebody else is saying it and all of a sudden you start behaving in that manner. Yes, isn't that crazy? The human mind is a very powerful thing. And it's very easy to manipulate, especially a child's mind. This is why, you guys, subhanAllah, Allah is so serious. This is why it's such a big deal that we don't gossip, that we don't slander, that we don't participate in ghiba and namima. Yes?
It's kind of like if you see someone else that's sick, you also feel sick. And if you see someone bark, you also.
So that's a little different, but we can explain it more in a little bit, okay? Guys, we want to be done by 7:15. We can come back for questions. Yes, Mom?
So 2 quick questions, just to clarify. Are those off of like your opinion, or are those like from the Quran and like hadith?
There is. That's a great question. There is actually hadith and some ayahs in the Quran that Omar Reda. I wish I could have printed it, but I need to ask his permission. I didn't ask if I could print it and distribute it. But he actually has steps that he got out of the Quran about stopping, how you stop people from gossiping. You know, literally saying don't gossip. Walking away from it. Don't engage in it. Don't be friends with those who gossip. Okay?
And then the second question was, what if a gossip is already like spread around the community and it's a big thing that's going around. So what do you do in that case? Because you can't. You said confront the person. What if it's already like a big, you know what I mean? How do you stop that?
So I'm going to give you an example. Amo and I, a lot of kids or adults, they'll come talk to us about things. And sometimes we find, especially youth, get engaged in situations based on gossip and slander, according to them, that has ruined family relationships. It's ruined their reputation in the community. And a lot of times we will find it's not true, or it's been exaggerated to the 1000th degree. It is my philosophy to go directly to a person and say, hey, listen, some things have been said and I need you to know if you need help, I'm willing to listen. And if things are getting to a point where you might not be able to handle it, maybe you should get some help, okay? But it's also good to bring the people together who are saying the things and seeing if you can find a solution. Because a person's reputation is not something easy to ruin. It's not fair. And we see this in girls more than boys. Unfortunately, men feel they have license to speak about girls. Right? Even if it's joking, even if it's in joking, right? But sometimes a simple word can ruin a girl's reputation and vice versa. Okay? So this is why this topic, you guys, and I know it's confusing because we're starting to think, oh my God, what did I say? What did I say? Is this gossip? But we do want to clarify as much as we can, okay? Yeah. Can you hold on, Mama? Wallah, we're almost done. All right. So we're going to get back to this. Go ahead, Omar. You wanted to write?
Yeah,
Come here.
Sure. I have a question.
When is gossip, and we're going to put quotation marks around gossip, when is it okay? What's your question, Omar?
Would you say if someone gossips about you, just like I said, Al-Jafar said like his friend got accused, how do you prove that it's wrong?
So we can talk about that. Let's put when is gossip okay, and then we're going to answer your questions, okay? Don't forget your questions, guys. We will answer them. Because I want Dr. Omar to have time to answer your questions, from a psychological perspective, from an Islamic perspective, and also from a cultural perspective. And then I'm going to share from my experience what I have found to be helpful when it comes to gossip. So, who thinks, when is it okay to gossip? And this is, I want that, right now I want examples. Go ahead. When what? Talking directly, so that's not gossip, right? If I'm talking directly to you, or about me, it's not gossip. So, well, no, because it's not defined as gossip.
When you are making a surprise for them.
Making a surprise for them, what do you mean?
Like, if you want to do a surprise party, so you tell them family surprise.
So that's not really gossip, Habibti, because it's not something about the person. So it's not information about, so for example, you want to have a party for me, and you tell everyone, hey, it's her birthday, let's have a party. That's not really gossiping about me. But if you say something like, hey, she has no friends, let's have a party. So that might be considered gossip. But it's not, but that wouldn't be. Okay. All right. Look. Okay. Yes. You know what, guys? I can see that we're going to take longer than planned. Let's go ahead and take a pause. Guys, listen. We're going to take a pause. We're going to take 15 minutes to go pray, and then we're going to come back. I think we might be here the whole night. Okay? I don't know. But I do. Yes, you can write when we get back. So guys, go ahead and go to the men's musalla. And girls, if you want to go ahead to the women's musalla. And will somebody lead prayer for the girls? Because I don't think you can hear. Go ahead, Ahmad, come on up. And we're talking about when is it okay to quote unquote gossip or talk about people. Afaf.
Mine is more of a question. Would it be okay if people saw something bad happen and needed advice on what to do?
Okay, so you need advice. Okay? So, Hafsa. Okay, someone's committed a crime. Yes, that is correct.
If you're giving up facts.
Huh?
If you're giving up facts about them.
Oh.
In a job interview, like good.
Oh. So Ahmed said if you're giving out facts, okay? I'm going to tell you what the general rule is right now. Are you ready to listen? Okay? I was in the room next door, and I got permission from the person to share the story. And she was telling about how a member of her family loves hanging out with her friends, and even though he thinks they're ratchet, in a loving way. Okay? So I said to her, subhanAllah, I was like, that's literally the definition of gossip right there. And she said, no, because it's a good thing. So why is it gossip? Even though she thinks it's a good thing and the family member was saying it in a good way. Why is it gossip?
She didn't have the permission of the family member.
Exactly. Exactly. You get a piece of candy, because that was the perfect answer. Get a piece of candy. That is exactly the answer. Listen, everybody knows. Listen, I'm going to give you examples right now. Huh? No, facts is not a erase that. We're going to use that. Okay. So guys, let's say for example, Omar got into a Division I school, and I happen to find out, and I tell everybody, guess what? Omar got into Stanford on a soccer scholarship. That's amazing news, right? That's great news, right? But did he want me to share that? Did I get his permission? He may not want people to know. He may want to wait and announce it himself. It's his story. It's his situation. I have no right to share his life with anybody else, no matter how good it is. I didn't get his permission. Had I said, Omar, this is amazing, can I share? And he says, yes, go ahead. Then it's not gossip. Here's another one, which is really funny to me. People post on Facebook, OMG, I just got a new outfit from the mall today, and it's totally, what is it, dripping? Right? It's on fire dripping, something like that? Whatever. Right? Whatever. I know, I'm old, it's okay. So, you announce it on Facebook, and then I go to Medium, who doesn't have a Facebook account. And I'm like, Medium, did you hear Rabha? She doesn't have a Facebook account, by the way, but let's just pretend. Got a new outfit, and it looks like this. Is that gossip? No, because Rabha already shared it herself. Does that make sense? See how?
Like, for example, like if, let's say two people became friends and you know one of those people has done something in the past, like you're not making it up, you're saying it how it is. Can you give them a small warning, like just say, hey, this is what they've done, be careful.
So, yes, but, put that up there. But, warning people about others. But, here's the thing. I read over this, and once again, Omar Suleiman, I think he's an unbelievably amazing scholar, mashallah, and he talks about this. In the event somebody's going to marry somebody, which you know is not a good person, then it is incumbent upon you to tell them. If you know somebody is going into business with somebody who is a cheater, a liar, a thief, it is incumbent upon you to tell. Those are the two examples that he gives. Yes, Khalid?
When it comes to their safety?
When it comes to their safety. If you know somebody is capable or possibly going to harm somebody, you have to speak up and say, this person told me that he or she is going to do this. At that point, it's not gossip, it's saving lives. Jenny?
Can you direct your response to who you tell? You don't just
Yes, thank you for that. So, like I said before, when it comes to who you talk to, you want to talk to people who are trusted. People you know will not take the information you give them and spread it or change it in a way that could hurt you or the person you're talking about. Earlier, Muaz asked the question about what if it's someone that you need help from, you're seeking help from. That is a reason you can talk to someone, like a therapist or the imam. Yes. You're doing it because you need help for yourself about how to handle a situation. And once again, you don't just go to anybody. It has to be somebody trusted that you know, inshallah, they will go around and use the information that you shared to hurt other people. Yusuf?
I have 4 really quick ones. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. One, what if you don't mention the name of the person?
That's an excellent question. And there's actually, conflict in how to handle that situation. So if you're saying it like a story to teach somebody a lesson,
That was my second question.
okay, then it is considered okay. If you're doing it and you're avoiding the name, but there's a chance or a hope they'll figure it out, or there might be a chance they'll figure it out, absolutely not. Keep it to yourself, okay? So we're going to go to some of the reasons, and this is out of Omar Suleiman's lecture, okay? Complaining about oppression or injustice. Oppression, O-P-P-R-E-S-S-I-O-N. It's okay because I can't spell either. You don't have to write it, baby, because they're up here. But this is okay. You're done. Thank you. Can everybody give Omar a hand? Thank you. Good job. Yes, chocolate. Omar. Here you go.
What about Maryam?
Yes, give one to Maryam too. That's a big friend right there. All right, complaining about oppression or injustice to someone who can help. If you need to complain to the imam or a friend who can help, then it is fine to backbite. Okay, it is not slander. Remember, there's a difference.
Can you repeat that? Let's
Yes. Complaining about oppression or injustice to someone who can help. If you need to complain to the imam or a friend who can help, then it is fine to backbite. It is never, never, never okay to slander. I don't care who you're talking to. It is not okay. What about talking about a ruler? So someone asked that earlier. The rulers are doing their actions in public and are open transgressors. The Prophet ﷺ said, do not forbid people for speaking ill of the fujjar, person who disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Give me a second, Eunice. Seeking the help of someone to correct something wrong. So if something happens and you want to get help into fixing that situation, you mention what is necessary and don't go into the details and then help the person. Okay? Only give me what I need to know. You might not even have to give me names. Okay? Just say, Khala, I'm in this situation where I said this about a friend, and now she's mad at me, and now her reputation is ruined at school. What should I do? My advice to you would be apologize to her and tell everybody else that you lied. It's going to be hard, but that's how to fix it. If we do something, the saying you reap what you sow, right? Guys, if we commit sins or do things that are wrong in general, the consequences might be very difficult. But in order to repent for those bad deeds, we may have to go as far as possibly ruining our own reputations in order to save the reputation of somebody else. But hopefully people will rise above it and respect you for it, and you can move on from that. Rabha?
Okay, but what if, like you said, that you have to go to that person and like apologize, then you go to everybody else and said that you lied, but what if you didn't lie? Because lying is a sin.
So, once again, difference between backbiting and slander, right? So, a lot of times when people backbite and you tell people that I bought a new car and I didn't want anyone to know I bought a new car, okay? At that point, sorry mama, or sorry whatever friend, I didn't mean to let out your secret. Most of the times it can end there. But when it starts to ruin someone's reputation, okay? And unfortunately, one of the biggest things that youth your age gossip about are relationships. Okay? A lot of times things are created or said and they grow like wildfire. You have to be careful of what you say. People can be innocently standing and talking next to each other in public in view of everybody. But if you go to this Khala who's known to add sugar and spice to words, and you say, Khala, A and B were talking in the parking lot and they were 6 inches apart instead of 12. Then that Khala or Ammu Could be like, I always knew that girl was wild. I knew that boy was not trustworthy. And then it becomes something else. That's slander. That's slander. Sometimes the most innocent joke, a joke, which you think is innocent, can become slander. Okay? Let me finish this, guys, then we'll get to that, okay? Asking for a fatwa. So you go to a sheikh, and please be careful who you ask fatwas from. Make sure that they are certified to give you that information. This is very limited circumstance, but sometimes necessary. Warning a person at risk from harm. So whoever gave me that example earlier. When someone has a title that has a bad meaning, but the person is known by it. For example, and what is it, Omar? The meaning, what does that word mean? What is it?
Somebody who cannot see.
Al-Amash. So that's his name, that's his title. If he's okay with it, right? Like everybody knows that's his name, then that's his name. But if he's not okay with it, so you say, hey, there's Gumby. He was like this rubbery toy, right? He was famous in the many years ago. It was a cartoon. But he doesn't like that name, right? He doesn't like that name. You don't want to, at that point, call him by that because you're spreading a rumor that that's what his name is when it's not. Almost done. Oh, go ahead. Okay? And then speaking about a proud sinner. This refers to someone who loves to disobey Allah and is proud of it. For example, there's a woman named Urshid Manji. She's like a women's rights activist, but completely wrong. She talks about Islam in a very wrong way. She's written a book about Islam, and of course, anybody who writes a book against Islam is a #1 bestseller right away. And so let's say that she's coming to Portland. I'm going to make sure everyone in Portland knows that this woman goes against the teachings of Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And tell you this is what she's done. Because she's spreading falsehoods, and she is changing the minds of Muslim women in an unhealthy way, and non-Muslims about Islam in an unhealthy way. Okay? So in that case, it is okay for me to talk or gossip about her. Yes, Yusuf?
Do opinions count as gossip?
Huh?
Do opinions count as gossip?
Excellent question. Yusuf said, do opinions count as gossip? No. So let's say, mashallah, Dr. Omar is the best psychiatrist I have ever seen.
Yep.
So that's an opinion, right? That's an opinion based on my experiences. It's not gossip. Somebody says, mashallah, red looks so beautiful on her. That's an opinion. It's not gossip.
What if it's negative?
Right? So should we be spreading negative? You're gonna get sins for the fact that you're hurting somebody, but it's not considered gossip. So negative opinion, for example, would be, well, let's say this, okay? Let's say, for example, hey, I'm looking for a psychiatrist. And you say, well, don't go to Dr. Omar because he gives too much drugs, right? How dare you? Shh. Well, it's an example, Mama. So that's that. In that case, why are you saying it? Is it true? Is it true you're saying it because you're trying to help prevent somebody from being hurt? Then it's not gossip. That's an exception to the rule. But if it's your opinion in that case and you're hurting, remember we talked about hurting as a definition of gossip, then you want to keep it to yourself. Okay? Yes?
So, let's just say that so wouldn't true friends just say the truth straight out?
Yes.
Because let's just say that what they're interpreting is that it's something bad, but actually it's something good to prevent them from this happening. Would that be gossiping about that person?
So give me a more concrete example.
So let's just say that
let's use you and me.
So let's just say someone was they have two faces. So one face is in front of grown-ups, they're respected, they're respectable. But when they're not with grown-ups, they're rude, dishonorable.
That's an excellent question. So he said you have somebody you know that's quote unquote two-faced. So in front of adults, they're really good Muslims, and then in front of kids, they're different. All right? Is it my right to go and tell their parents, for example, hey, they're doing this, or to tell the whole world, hey, they're doing this? Two things. Number one, it is incumbent upon you to give nasiha to the person who's committing these deeds. You go up to them and say, hey, akhi, ukhti, for the sake of Allah, you should think about the things that you're doing. Maybe they're not acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And make dua for that person. Don't forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Asutru ma fil ardi yasturka ma fis sama." Right? No. That's arhamo. I'm sorry. What is the sitra? Yes. Can you say out loud? My voice. Shh.
Yeah.
I have to. Can I take a little break? You can take over for here.
So sitr means to cover somebody's shortcomings or mistakes. So if you cover somebody's mistake, Allah will cover your mistake on the day of judgment, inshallah.
Go ahead, guys. Ask.
So Yusuf asked this question. What about snitching?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know the consequences of snitching, but also it's very important to know what's your intention. So always, Rasulullah, the first hadith, always by Omar bin Khattab, al-a'mal bin-niyat. So it's, your actions are counted based on your intention. So if your intention is evil or to make people get into trouble, then this is automatically something negative and you should not engage in. So I think snitching, regardless of the intention, as long as that doesn't have to do with safety. Safety is very important. Like one of the sahabiyat, she's a woman, she came to the Prophet ﷺ, she said that 3 people, they wanted to marry me. And the Rasulullah ﷺ, he took their names and he said, Fulan, he is somebody who does not, spend on his family. So he's a little bit greedy. He said the other one is known for being harsh. So I'm afraid he will engage in domestic violence. He might hit you and he said the 3rd Sahabi, I have nothing bad to say about him. So he was giving her advice based on safety concern. So this is allowed only under safe. If somebody is engaging in self-harm or you're worried about their imminent safety, you can always breach that confidentiality.